again, everyone. It's me, Madame Macabre, and welcome to a new video. I have another fun little story time to share with you guys today about some stuff that has been happening since back around October all the way up until just today. And as you can tell by the title, it's a little bit interesting. It has to do with the local neighborhood kids. So to give you a little more context to start with, it seems that, well, I've somehow become the cryptid of my local community, at least with the children. So how did this happen? See, where I live in my community, I'm actually not too far away from, okay, is this gonna become a habit? Go with Sissy. Go. Just no, I wanna knock around the camera and make noise. Okay. I guess we're just gonna have to work with this. Anyway, so my community is not terribly far from an army base. Really? Come on. Okay, no, we're not gonna climb on the camera. Stay away from that. So my community is actually not that far from an army base, so we actually have a large percentage of the people who live in this community that are very young families that often work at the army base, so they come and go quite frequently. Not many of the families stay for long periods of time, so it's in and out, lots of different families. However, since I am not an army family, I have stayed here for about 2 years now, and since I've been here for about 2 years, that means that I have been here longer than any of the current children involved in the story. And the reason that that is important is because since I have been here longer than any of the current children involved in this, they don't know my origin. For all they know, I have always been here. They don't know my backstory. I didn't just move in. I have just always been that weird, spooky lady that's been here before any of them. And what I mean by, you know, the weird spooky lady, I don't mean like mean and grumpy, because I'm always nice to everybody I see out in the community. I mean more that since I always keep my blinds open when it's daylight, because I love natural daylight, you can see into my unit, and my unit kind of looks like the Haunted Mansion. Just from the glimpses you get behind me, that's just a taster. I've got weird shelves full of strange occult looking artifacts, just tons of weird cool stuff to look at. And to a child, that kind of, you know, like, oh look, it's the cryptid, the neighborhood witchy lady. And they have no context other than I've got all these weird spooky things. It's like Halloween in my unit year round. So that's a lot to take in for, like, these are probably like, I want to say 8 to 12-year-olds. Anyway, so aside from that, they have also witnessed some very interesting things because, again, you guys know, I do cosplay, so I've got a lot of costuming things that I work on throughout the year. And one of the interesting things that they've spotted is I have a sewing mannequin, and constantly the things on that mannequin are switching out depending on what costumes I'm working on. So sometimes they'll have like a bloody Silent Hill nurse costume or a clown costume, a variety of things that can be disturbing if they've seen. I think the most recent one I had on there was like some occult robes from my nameless ghoul costume. So that sometimes, depending on where it is in the house where I'm working on it, it will be oftentimes by a window because I like the light source again. So if I leave it there with the costume work in progress, children look in the window, they see this mannequin wearing sometimes bloody, you know, dresses, robes, all this stuff. So that's a little bit weird to, again, an 8 to 12-year-old who isn't familiar. Like, if their family doesn't do sewing, and they're not familiar with sewing mannequins, and they're not familiar with cosplay, and all the crazy things that will be on the mannequin, that's another weird sight. Also, I work with wigs, so sometimes you'll see, oh gosh, the worst thing they'll see is, like, I will admit, it is kind of creepy looking. You know that baby head thing from Toy Story? The one where it's like on the little Tinker Toy legs or whatever, and it's the doll head? Kind of looks like that. Basically, those of you who work on cosplay wigs will probably know this trick. A lot of the time when you get a foam mannequin head to style wigs on, there will be like a hole in the bottom, and you can put that hole on a tripod. And it's nice because it'll stand there and then you can work on it without it tipping it over and everything, but the visual of the mannequin head on the tripod, It is a little weird looking, and I've had grown friends who haven't seen that method of working on wigs. They're like, what the hell? So imagine a child seeing the Toy Story baby head monster with a wig being worked on, or me and various friends over wearing a variety of wigs and styling them. It's just a lot of weird stuff to see going on in the windows for a kid that doesn't understand. I hear you messing with that Christmas tree, young man, and I'm not gonna have it. Do not knock that ornament off the tree, so help me. You're gonna do it anyway, okay. Okay, so costumes on a mannequin, wigs, that's all good and weird, but I think the big kicker with like weird spooky things is probably all my various cosplay masks. See, I have on more than one occasion worn a Jason hockey mask. That one's recognizable by all kids, but it's not as scary because they can recognize it, they know that character, and they know all that. But when you get into more obscure things and they see you trying on a mask that you may have just purchased, you're like, awesome, trying it out before convention. You know, they don't know you're going to a convention, they just see a grown person wearing a really creepy mask in their apartment unit. Let me, rather than trying to explain it, let me just show you some of the masks that I assume the children most likely have seen me or friends in. Yes, I have had friends over where we're wearing matching masks or they're trying them on, just screwing around, and sometimes the windows are open, so it's a possibility that children have sighted this. He's currently wearing a Santa hat, nice and festive. This one I know for a fact I've been spotted in a couple times, and I've got two friends who have the matching mask to this, so seeing a couple of us, you know, in our nameless schools, I think they're adorable. They're like little birds. But not everybody thinks like I do, so that might be upsetting to a kid. Well, not so much upsetting, it's just what the hell again. And perhaps a little more disturbing even than the ghoul mask might be my Silent Hill nurse mask. Yeah, that might be a little weird to see in the window. Nowhere near Halloween. I gotta try these things out before I go to conventions. I gotta know if they're gonna work. So yeah, needless to say, the kids have seen some interesting sights of me and my things in my windows. So that has started to, along with my spooky setting and decorations and all that, that might start to have plant the idea of a cryptid or an interesting supernatural figure in their heads. But that wasn't the big one. Interestingly enough, the big thing that seems to have really sparked these kids' interest is my clown, Hexy. And the reason I say this is because up until all the Hexy stuff started, the kids would stare in the windows, but nothing really came of it. No, the story doesn't really get interesting until Hexy comes into play. See, I worked at a haunted house all year as this Hexy character. See, I worked as Hexy at a haunted house all Halloween season this year. And before I got comfortable enough in the haunt and got used to the space, got comfortable in the green room enough to just leave without my costume on and then just put it all on there, the first couple times when I was testing the waters, seeing if it was a place I would even want to stay and continue the whole season, I just got ready ahead of time and headed down there fully in character. And because of this, there was a possibility of people seeing me in my full clown face costume, not just the face, just the whole costume, seeing me as I was leaving for work. And of course, as Murphy's Law would dictate, when you're in a ridiculous getup and you're hoping, gosh, I hope there's nobody out here, no neighbors to see me as I go on my way to this event I'm working at, because boy-oh, would that make some awkward conversations later. Well, of course there's gonna be people out there to see you. I mean, this is a little bit of a sidetrack away from the kid story, but back even before these current kids had even moved in, when Shadow Kisses and I were going to Crypticon as Hexy and Lacerette, our clowns, right as we were getting ready to leave, I thought nobody had seen us, we were great, fine, perfect, we can drive off and go and not have any awkward encounters. The mailman comes walking right in front of the car, looks dead into the windshield, makes hard eye contact with me, and then just like waves and keeps on walking, and I'm like, oh, hi there, oh gosh. But yes, going back to this current group of children and this current encounter. So it's October, it's, you know, early in the season. I'm on my way to go work at the haunt. I'm in full Hexy getup, and it's looking like it's pretty good and clear. The only sign of life is a group of children who are playing on the big toy in the community playground. I have to walk past the big toy to get to my car. I mean, I'm not right next to it, I'm across the street from it, so I'm thinking maybe I can just stealth mode my way in without being seen by these little gremlins. Well, for the most part, I thought I was going to make it, because I get all the way over to my car and I start unlocking it. Nobody seems to have seen me or reacted. It's right as I unlock the car and I'm getting ready to get in that one little boy looks over at me and I just see his face. And I'm thinking, okay, let's get out of here. So I, jump in my car, I get buckled in and I start taking off, and I'm pretty discreet and none of the other kids see me, but I can hear him going, you guys, look. However, fortunately I had taken off, so none of the other kids got a good look at me, so it's just this one little boy who saw me, and like, the poor thing's probably like, no, it really was there, it's a cloud, I'm telling you. And they were probably like, yeah, right. Whatever the kids do. Anyway, so that first time I'm like, okay, it's fine. However, I went one more time into work in full costume. After this second time was when I started just getting ready at work and didn't bother, changing anything before I got there. However, this second time I was going there, I was completely in clown face again. I was going towards my car. However, I didn't have nearly as much good luck this second time because I didn't even get near my car before I was spotted. So, I'm locking my door, I'm headed down the porch, I'm getting ready to head towards my car, but I'm just on the sidewalk, headed towards my car, and the same little boy is on top of the big toy with a couple of his friends, and I'm on my way to my car, and I just hear this loud, resounding clown! And then all of a sudden, all the children in the neighborhood just start screaming and running to the big toy. So they're all climbing up there on the top platform, just staring at me. And I'm just like, oh, this is awkward. I'm just gonna keep walking to my car. I'm just carrying, chainsaw and some props and stuff, and it's fine, ignore me. So I just tried to make as little eye contact with them as possible, which probably, was for the best considering I got those crazy whiteout Manson lenses, so it's just blood on the face. It wasn't the ideal situation to get spotted by a large group of like 8 to 12-year-olds. Anyway, I get into my car, I take off, and I'm on my way, and the entire time I'm leaving the community, I could see the kids kind of like eyeballing at me, and however, I don't know if they were expecting me to try and like chase them or get them like a bad clown or something, especially, with the whole it thing coming out and all that, but they didn't really react, they just stared at me, and I didn't chase them, so I thought the incident passed no problem. I was like, that's a little awkward, they're probably like, Mom, Dad, there's a clown in the neighborhood, and the parents either concerned or be like, okay, you're getting a little creative since Halloween's coming up, but nothing real big came of that, especially since I started changing into my costume at the green room in the haunt from then on out, because I decided that was gonna be my new home haunt. Anyway, so a couple weeks pass, there's no more sightings of this clown. However, at this point I've started to notice that the kids are starting to pay more and more attention to my unit. They're kind of hanging around a ways back in the trees looking at my windows a little more than usual. They always kind of stare because they got weird stuff, but they're paying more attention than usual. I'm like, okay, no harm. Well, one day I'm recording in my studio, and all of a sudden I hear a weak little knock 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 on my door, so I'm like, okay, not expecting anybody, maybe a package is here. So I go to my door and I open it, no sign of anybody, except I see a couple sets of little eyeballs poking out from behind bushes and trees, just staring at me as I open the door, like, okay. So nothing happened. I just closed the door and went back to work with a chuckle. My guess is like they were trying to get a glimpse of me, maybe they were expecting it to be the clown answering the door and they were trying to see, but nope, it was just me. So, so after that, nothing else really happens for a while. I mean, they always stare into my windows and stuff when it's open, and like they've never stopped being very interested, but no big things happened for a while after that point, until I want to say about 2 weeks ago I was working in my studio, had my windows open because the sunlight was beautiful, which we don't get a lot of beautiful pure sunlight in Washington. It's gray and sad. So I was letting the sunlight in, I had my window open, I was working, and I hear the kids shouting and their voices coming louder and louder, and then I look out the window, there's a small crowd of them staring at me. So I just kind of awkwardly look over at them. I'm like, I don't know what to do. These kids are just, like staring, there's a group of them. So I just kind of like, okay, I turn back and I go back to work there. The majority of the group runs over to the big toy again. However, I noticed that 2 little boys and a little girl who looks like she's about 10, maybe 11, still hanging out around the window. The little boys kind of back up and go behind trees, but the little girl stands like center stage on the sidewalk that's out in front of where the window is. And I'm curious by this point, like, what is going on? So I get up, I walk closer to the window, and I look like, what are you kids doing? And the little girl, no joke, makes dead eye contact with me, unblinking, just stares, hard eye contact. And then she starts doing this really bizarre, like this crazy dance that like eventually breaks down in almost like the Pennywise dance. And she just like busts out these dance moves for like 40 seconds straight, and I'm unable to look away because I'm just, what is happening? And she's making a hard eye contact with me the entire time. And then like clockwork, as soon as she finishes her dance, without so much as a word or a bow or anything, she just turns around and runs to the big toy with all the other kids. And I'm just left here like, what just happened? So I'm not knowing, like, is this a challenge? Or is it like an offering? Like, what is going on? Are they trying to summon the cryptid? Do they want the clown to return? What is happening? So that was about 2 weeks ago, and I had to, tell the family about it, because I'm like, what just happened? These kids, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a long time since I was their age, so I don't know the thought process, but it was very interesting. And so that happened, and again, we went back to a period of relative radio silence, nothing really crazy happening. That is, until today. Today is the first time since the dance tribute that we've had another interaction with these children who are very interested in the clown. See, once again, I was in my studio working and recording when I heard another knock, knock, knock on my door. Now, immediately I assumed it to be like a delivery person because it's around Christmas time, I'm expecting a bunch of packages. So I go, waddle over to the door, like ready to sign the package and then get back to work. However, when I look through, the little peephole, I'm not seeing any delivery man. In fact, I'm not seeing anybody at all. So I'm thinking, okay, it's probably just the kids again, peeking, seeing, is it a clown this time? But I open the door, I look, and this time I don't even see any of them peeking out at me. I don't know what's going on. However, before I go back in, I look down, and in the middle of my welcome mat, right outside my door, they left something for me. And no, it's nothing gross or bad or anything. No, they left me a tiny Joker figurine. It's a tiny little clown. So my guess is I know it's the Joker, but the Joker, the clown prince of crime. I'm thinking this is the closest an elementary school kid is going to get to finding, clown-related toys and paraphernalia now that clowns are no longer like a popular kids' toy thing anymore. So they're like, this is close enough for a clown. So my guess is it's some kind of offering to appease Hexy, because why else would you leave a tiny little clown figurine on my doorstep? I don't know what you want from me, children. There's no note, nothing. They just left tiny clown for me. So I'm thinking they might like me, maybe. Why would you dance for me and leave me presents? Perhaps they are trying to summon the clown. Maybe like Cryptid, they think they can dance and leave offerings, and perhaps the clown will return. I don't know why they want to summon the clown. I don't know for what purposes. Maybe they just think she's interesting, or they want to summon her and have her maybe eat their classmates they don't like. I don't know. Again, I don't know how these children's minds are working. All I know is that they've danced for me and they gave me a small clown. And unlike previous stories I've shared with you, this is currently happening. Again, this tiny Joker tribute was given to me today. So I don't know where this story is gonna continue to go, but I can keep you guys updated as more things happen, because I'm sure that as long as this group of children is still here in this community, they will probably still continue trying to summon the clown. You know, I never, as a child, thought I would grow up to become a local cryptid. But here we are. Here we are. Anyway, I've just been getting a kick out of this whole experience, so I thought it would be fun to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this lighthearted little story, and again, I'll keep you updated if more interesting things happen. Anyway, that's all I have time for today, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave your theories about what these kids might be up to down in the comments below, and share if you've ever experienced any crazy things like this yourself. Kids are strange. They're very strange little things. Anyway, that is all for today. I will catch you all next time, and until then, stay creepy.